Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Today I wanted to go over some of the biggest modern day recruiting busts of all time. Now, all of these players were consensus top 10 players in their classes, obvious consensus 5 stars who just simply did not pan out. Off the field, on the field, whatever. These were our 5 complete and total busts. Let's kick it off at number 5. It is Matt Barkley, who was the number 1 overall prospect in 2009 and committed to USC over UCLA. He graded as a pro-style QB with the expectation of eventually being the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL draft. Quarterbacks coach Steve Clarkson described Barkley as a cross between Joe Montana and Tom Brady. His college career, however, did not go as expected. Starting as a true freshman in 2009, he threw 15 touchdowns compared to 14 picks. Barkley rebounded with back-to-back solid sophomore and junior years. This, along with USC being the preseason number 1 team in 2012, solidified Barkley as an early Heisman frontrunner. The hype didn't last long, however, as USC suffered an early season loss to Stanford. They would go on to lose 5 games during Barkley's senior year, with the QB responsible for 15 interceptions. As early as April 2012, he was projected as the number 1 overall pick in the 2013 NFL Draft. However, 1 month prior to the draft, Barkley's draft stock had fallen, with ESPN analyst Todd McShay projecting Barkley to fall out of the first round completely. Due to his shoulder injury, Barkley did not throw at the NFL Scouting Combine and instead took medical tests. The Philadelphia Eagles finally ended up selecting Matt Barkley in the 4th round with the 98th overall pick. Far cry from being the number 1 overall pick, Barkley didn't start a single game until 2016, his 4th year in the NFL, and predictably, his pro career has been that of the backup variety, appearing in 19 total games, starting just 7 of them. He's compiled 11 total touchdowns to go along with a whopping 22 career interceptions. Matt Barkley, number 5 on this list. Moving on to number 4, it is Foster Sorel, who was thought to be a franchise left tackle by many pro scouts, rated as a consensus top player in the 2018 class. The offensive tackle out of Washington, committed to the University of Stanford. His profile really took off when he was named the most valuable player at the opening, a high-profile national showcase. Many scouts agreed that he was one of, if not the best offensive linemen they've ever seen out of the Northwest. However, his college career did not go very well, as he was rarely healthy, suffered numerous lower back injuries, including a serious knee injury that cost him much of his sophomore season in 2018. As a junior, he did start all 11 games at right tackle and was voted as an honorable mention to the All Pac-12 conference team. Last fall, he made 6 starts as a senior. Sorel went undrafted. The former 5-star top 10 overall player went undrafted, and he is the only player on this list that does not have a Wikipedia page, funny enough. Sorel acknowledged, quote, "There were turbulent times in college and things did not go the way I planned. I don't know why." Moving on to number 3, it is Dorial Green Beckham. DGB for short is the highest rated wide receiver prospect of all time and the only wide receiver to finish number 1 overall on the 247 Sports Composite rankings. He was part of the class of 2012, and in a national televised ceremony, he announced he would sign with the University of Missouri. Predictably, he is the highest-ranked recruit Missouri has ever signed. He received decent playing time as a true freshman, appearing in 11 games with almost 400 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. As a sophomore, Green Beckham nearly eclipsed 1,000 yards and had an unbelievable SEC championship game against Auburn, catching 6 passes for 144 yards and 2 scores. But on April 11th, 2014, Green Beckham was dismissed from Missouri due to legal troubles. After his dismissal, he transferred to the University of Oklahoma, but per NCAA transfer rules at the time, DGB had to sit out an entire year. He attempted to post a waiver in order to make him eligible to play for that year, but the NCAA declined it. In January 2015, DGB announced he would be entering the 2015 NFL Draft. During his time with OU, he spent his season on the scout team and didn't play a single down for the Sooners before just deciding to declare for the draft. Green Beckham was selected 40th overall in the second round of the 2015 NFL Draft by the Tennessee Titans based off of potential alone. He played all 16 games as a rookie, totaling 549 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. On August 6, 2016, DGB was traded to the Eagles in exchange for offensive tackle Dennis Kelly. In the 2016 season with the Eagles, Beckham appeared in 15 games with just under 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. On June 30th, 2017, DGB was waived by the Eagles. Now, DGB has had a number of legal troubles, including being dismissed from the University of Missouri football team. He is currently an NFL free agent. Moving on to number 2, it is Robert Kimdichi. Kimdichi graded out as a perfect recruit, receiving the perfect rare 1,000 overall score when every single recruiting site ranks a player number 1 overall. That's how you get that score. Kimdichi had it. He was the number 1 overall player out of Georgia and signed with the infamous Ole Miss class of 2014 along with Laramie Tunsil and Laquan Treadwell. He had a decent true freshman season, playing in 11 games, starting 10 of them, amassing 34 total tackles with 2 sacks and 2 pass breakups. He was named to the freshman All-SEC team by the league's coaches. As a sophomore, he started every game at the defensive tackle position on an Ole Miss defensive line that led the nation in scoring defense, allowing just 16 points per game, and led the SEC in tackles for loss at around 7 per game. However, after an incident involving marijuana in December of 2015, he was suspended for the 2016 Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma State. After the season, Kimdichi decided to forego his senior year and enter the 2016 NFL Draft. Much like DGB, Robert Kimdichi was selected mainly just based off of sheer potential. The Cardinals selected him 29th overall in the first round. He signed a 4-year deal worth over $8 million with them on May 29th, 2016. He only played in 5 games and recorded 1 tackle during his rookie year. In his second year, he played in 12 games, recording 11 tackles and a forced fumble. In week 1 of the 2018 season, he finally recorded his first career sack. In week 14 of that year, he suffered a knee injury that would require season-ending surgery. Thus, he was placed on the IL for the rest of 2018. He finished the season with 4.5 sacks and a forced fumble. In 2019, the Cardinals declined the 5th-year option on Kimdichi's contract, and just a month later, Kimdichi was waived by the Cardinals with a failed physical designation. On August 8, 2019, Kimdichi was signed by the Miami Dolphins on a prove-it 1-year deal. He was placed on the injured reserve list to start the season while recovering from knee surgery. He was then activated on October 28, 2019, prior to Week 8, but just a week later was waived by the Dolphins in 2019. And on April 29, 2021, Kimdichi signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Moving on to the number 1 overall bust in modern recruiting history, it is the big fella, Trey Thompson out of Georgia. He signed subsequently with Georgia, the number 1 overall player, a big hulking defensive tackle. In high school, he was named Junior of the Year by the recruiting service Rivals.com. In his senior season, Thompson tallied 84 tackles, including 36 tackles for a loss and 4 sacks as a defensive tackle to go along with 1 interception and 1 forced fumble. He was named the Class 4A Defensive Player of the Year by the Atlanta Journal, as well as National Defensive Player of the Year by USA Today. Now, he obviously had extremely high expectations entering his college career. Thompson mostly played in the second half of the first 4 games of the 2015 season, where he recorded 7 total tackles, including a half sack. On October 3rd, 2015, Thompson made his first career start for the Georgia Bulldogs in a Week 5 loss to Alabama, where he recorded 4 total tackles. Thompson finished his true freshman year with just 25 tackles to go along with 2.5 tackles for a loss and half a sack. Now, Thompson really did nothing of note in his sophomore and junior years, and in January 2018 declared for the NFL Draft, foregoing his senior year at Georgia. Trey Thompson, once the number 1 overall ranked recruit, went undrafted in the 2018 NFL Draft and signed a free agent deal with the Cleveland Browns. He was waived Just a few months later, he went on to sign with the Arizona Hotshots of the Alliance American Football League in January of 2019 and has played for a few other debunked arena football leagues. Thompson, once again thought of as the #1 recruit, ends up going undrafted, guys. Those were just 5 complete modern-day recruiting busts. I love looking at this stuff. It's so interesting to see how some of these guys' careers turned out. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description, guys. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.